So today we celebrate the Feast of the Holy Family, and I know it can be kind of intimidating when we think about the home of Jesus, the incarnate Word, Mary, the Immaculate Conception, and Joseph, one of the greatest saints that ever lived. And we think, well, they just had this perfect life. How am I supposed to imitate this? But I think it's a beautiful thing that when we look at the gospel today, we see that life wasn't always perfect, even amongst perfect people. That family life can be messy. I remember back in my first parish, we had, after Mass one day, a very agitated mother came to me saying that she couldn't find her daughter. Her daughter had Down syndrome, and she was looking frantically everywhere for her. She ended up that she had been playing in the elevator, going up and down and up and down. And when she finally found her, the relief that I saw in her, and that was just for 5-10 minutes that her daughter was missing. Can you imagine Joseph and Mary and what's going on in their hearts and minds? 3 days. Their 12-year-old son is missing. 3 days. So life wasn't always perfect. And I think that's very helpful for us, because even in a family of saints, life can be difficult. And yet, family life is a call. It's a call to something great. It's a vocation to holiness. That we heard in the second reading today from the first letter of St. John. I love this. This is one of my favorite readings in the New Testament. I want it at my funeral. See what love the Father has bestowed on us, that we may be called children of God. And so we are. Beloved, we are God's children now. What we shall be has not yet been revealed. That we are God's children now. God is calling us into His family. And when we look at family life, when we look at the love between parents, the love between husband and wife, the love between parents and children, children and parents, it is an image, it is a reflection, a symbol, as it were, of God's love. It's not that when we're thinking about God's eternal love, that's a symbol of our family life, but rather it's the other way around. The family is the symbol. That we in our families are symbolic of the true love that flows between the infinite family of Almighty God in His Trinity, but also then His love for you and me as His children. This incredible gift that God calls us to be family. And what does family stand for? F-A-M-I-L-Y. Forget about me, I love you. Forget about me, I love you. This is where we are trained in family life of what's most important. What's most important. And what's most important is not how much money we have, how many toys we accumulate, how much education we get. What's most important is how much we learn to love. How much we learn to love. And it is in family life that we can learn that lesson of unselfish love. Forget about me, I love you. Because after all, when you live with someone, no matter how much you love them, they can drive you nuts. I'm sure you've never experienced that before. Right, Father? Brothers and sisters getting on each other's nerves, husbands and wives irritating each other. Life is messy. And it's in learning how to love the people that are closest to us that we learn this gift of unselfish love, that we learn to become like God. One of my priest friends, for a time, was putting certain of his own sayings on mugs and giving them out to friends for Christmas. I happen to be one of those friends, So if you ever happen to stop into my rectory, you'll see a whole bunch of these mugs hanging on my coffee mug thing. The only problem is I don't drink coffee or tea. But I like having the mugs. They're great mugs. And one of my favorite sayings that's on one of these mugs is, "Love is the fidelity between ecstasies." Love is the fidelity between ecstasies. If you talk to most people in the world today, what is love? Of course, they'll ask, what's love got to do with it? Got to do with it, got to do with it. But what is love? And they'll say, well, love is the ecstasy. Love is that, oh, baby feeling. Love is, I'm hooked on a feeling. That's what we think love is in those ecstatic moments. But what is real love? It's not in the ecstasy, although it can be there as well, but love is the fidelity, the faithfulness we have in between the ecstasies as we are in the valleys, as it were, on the plain. In those times when life is just happening, when we have to sometimes put up with the foibles of the other, and we still choose the good of the other. That's where real love is. I was thinking about this and pondering over familial love, and there are a few things I know kind of fight and break down familial love, that become the death of familial love. One is, of course, that we completely redefined what marriage and gender is in this society. But I think also selfishness. When we say things like, I must be fulfilled. Or in another way, what have you done for me lately? Rather, family love, what real love is, what we're called to, is family. Forget about me, I love you. And this is hard. This is hard. Because in our own lives, the natural reaction is grasping instead of receiving. The Lord wants us to grow in this selfless gift of self. Why? Because that's who He is. That's what He did on the cross. He showed us His very heart. He says, this is the nature of who I am. I am the one who comes into your humanity and gives myself completely away. We see truly what that looks like. Forget about me, I love you, right there on the cross. And God says, I want you to be with me forever. In order for you to be with me forever, you have to be conformed to my heart, to my love. St. John of the Cross, in more or less words, put it this way. He says that the hardness of other people coming up against us actually is not a problem, but it's actually a design of Almighty God, because it helps to shine our hearts, to hone us down. He melts our hearts when we learn to reach out in love to those people who live with us and those around us who sometimes are the hardest to love. So my brothers and sisters, as we enter into this great mystery of the Holy Family, let us ask Joseph and Mary and Jesus that they pour down that grace upon us, that grace of learning familial love, to learn that grace of selfless love, to learn what it truly means to be family, where we forget about ourselves, loving the other.